The next. Our next session today has been much awaited by all of us present here. Discussing the recent trends and the impact of the Singapore Convention on Mediation, please welcome Mr. George Lim, the man known for mediating parties of all sorts, from patricians to plebeians, and everything in between. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. Is this nice? It's from Hyderabad.
The problem is you are already handsome.
We are so happy to be here, okay? And I'm so happy to have this. So I told Tariq, this would be a wonderful present for my wife. Sir, I'll give you another one. I said, Tariq, I have many wives. All right. Thank you, everybody. Don't record that, please. I'll be in trouble. On behalf of the Singapore delegation, we are really happy to be here. Okay? And what I'm going to say is really to share our experience. I have no illusions. Singapore is very small compared to India. You have the richness of this. We can never find this in Singapore. Okay? We have to buy stuff from outside. But you guys make it, you weave it. Traditional. You've got thousands of years of history, which we don't have. But I think we've got something to share. But before I do that, I think I want to share something about myself to make it a bit more personal. Are you all right, me standing here? Okay, let them move the stuff. So, I came from actually a very humble background. I'm number 6 in a family of 6. Singapore today, you cannot find family of sixes, okay? 1 or 2. But it was a struggle for me. And when I became a lawyer, when I was called to the bar in 1982, it was a privilege. And I told myself, I just pinched myself and said, remember this. I know we lawyers had to take an oath when we became lawyers. And if you remember, one of the things we said was we would try and act in the best interest of our clients. Remember, lawyers? Okay. So I became a lawyer. I practiced law for 41 years now. I am a senior counsel, was past president of the bar. This for me. Okay, don't take this away. But I started mediating 26 years ago. So I did my mediation course in 1996 and got caught by the mediation bug. And mediation resonates with me because it is really trying to act in the best interest of the parties, using our legal skills, okay? And that's why I'm here today. 8 years ago, I decided to do this full-time. I was approaching 60 years old, and I said, look, I want to do something different. So I decided I would do this full-time. I now do about 2 cases a week, okay? The rest of the time, I spend promoting a mediation, coming to places like India, eating your biryani, but really making friends and learning about life. Okay, so today I'm here to share with you recent developments in international mediation. And in particular, I will touch upon the phenomenal growth in the use of mediation internationally. Okay, and that's from our own personal experience at SIMC. I will touch on the impact of the Singapore Convention on Mediation, the value and impact. And thirdly, I think very important for lawyers, the fact that mediation today is increasingly used in a complementary manner with litigation and arbitration. That is happening all over the world, okay? It is a formula that works. All right, so less talking. Now, how much time do I have? Tariq, are you here? I would like to hear from you all actually. So I will try and take about, and then maybe we have time for some questions from you all because I know you've been sitting here the whole day and we'd like to hear from you as well. So keep your questions, okay? Okay, let's talk about the growth of mediation. And this is from our experience in SIMC, and we've been promoting mediation in Korea, in Japan, India, China, and many other countries, okay? And we can tell you that it's really changed. When we first started in 2014, 2015, when I went to a place like Korea, people didn't understand what mediation was. Not interested. You knock at doors, they're polite to you. But the situation has changed completely, okay? And you can see some of the photos here. I asked some of the lawyers yesterday, how many of you watch Korean drama? There are, right? Yes. And do you know which is the largest law firm in South Korea? Anybody? Kim and Chang, okay? Kim and Chang has how many lawyers? 1,000 to 1,300 lawyers, okay? It's a large law firm. They own buildings. I've made presentations there. Today, the senior partners in firms like Kim and Chang, Bae Kim and Lee, Shin and Kim, they all want to join our mediation courses. That is the change. That is the change that's happened because they realize that the clients now want mediation. The clients want lawyers who are able to advise them on mediation, act as mediators or act as mediation advocates. Okay? So this is the big change that's happening, and you can see every year now we're invited there and we are treated so well. And we made so many new friends. Okay. Japan is the same. Japan is very hierarchical. Many layers. Takes a while for things to be done. But right now, we did a course with our Japanese friends. This is in Kyoto. So Japan is interesting because they've got the Japan Arbitration Association. They started with arbitration, which is based in Tokyo. And then they decided to start a mediation center. And they said, we'll do it in Kyoto. How many of you been to Kyoto? Nice, right? It's very zen. Very zen. And so this is the balance in Japan. When we were there, we were there in November last year. That's their anniversary. They invited us. The president of JIMC, the Japan International Mediation Center, invited us to his home. Okay? And I'm told by the Japanese that is a privilege. It's very special. So this is how I think we've worked relationships and people respect and they realize the change that's coming about. Okay, so some of you may know this gentleman. Justice Rao, Justice Raveendran, lawyers. Akira Kawamura, former president of the IBA. He's on our panel. So we are attracting people like that, okay? People of stature, and they are telling their colleagues, come, join us on this wave of mediation. Okay, I know China, Singapore, China, India, two largest countries in the world. Who's bigger now in terms of population? India, yeah. India is 1.4 billion, but China is not far behind. Okay, and I wanted to point this to you that this man here, okay, is the Chinese Chief Justice, Zhou Jiang. He came to visit us in 2018 before COVID. Small organization like us, but Chinese Chief Justice came down and paid a visit. And I had a very nice conversation with him. And he told us, China needs mediation because there's so many disputes. Okay, I remember we make how many disputes? He said, I remember it's 100 million disputes, 80 to 100 million disputes. There's no way any court system in the world, how efficient you are, that you can handle that amount of disputes efficiently. Okay, China needs mediation. And the interesting thing, I think some of you might know, is that in China, Korea, Japan, they practice evaluative mediation, but the Westerners will not accept it. Westerners go for facilitative. Okay, we believe in somewhere in the middle. And we're trying to promote that. I think he was very interested in that model. So, as last month, okay, you see this CCPIT International Mediation Summit in Xiamen. Meng, you were there, right? Is that you?
That's me.
That's him. Okay, so we are very actively working with Chinese parties, and they are very interested, just to let you know that. And of course, India. See familiar faces? Who's this? Where's that handsome man here? Do you recognize yourself, sir? Okay, and of course, this other handsome man. You all know Justice Joseph Korean, right? So we've got very strong advocates in mediation in India coming on board. And of course, Justice Rao and Tariq, who were in Singapore in September last year. And that's when we started talking. Okay, so this is how things are developed. You are very fortunate. Your key people are interested in mediation, are leading the way. Okay, you've got a former Chief Justice, you've got Justice Rao, Justice Raveendran, and Justice Kohli. Okay, she is such a strong advocate. So you guys are lucky, I would say that. So we've also seen the developments in India. Jawad, where are you? Jawad wants my shawl, you know. He wants to exchange his shawl for mine. Where are you? Jawad, where are you? This one, right? That's him. Okay. Okay, fine. And Jawad, I think you told me this. You have seen the developments in India yourself in terms of the use of mediation, right? Okay. So, see another handsome face. All right, your former Justice Ramana. So at the height of COVID, would you believe it, in 2021, he and my Chief Justice, who's been mentioned, Justice Sundaresh Menon, the idea popped up of having a India-Singapore mediation summit. I know it was postponed once because of COVID. That was a time when India had staggering numbers of COVID cases. And so we postponed it, but we in the end held it, I think in July, right? July 2021. It was done online, and we had some physical people in Singapore, and we did online. Very successful, and we keep on referring to this as a beacon, as a source of hope for mediation in both our countries. So somebody asked this question this morning about how Singapore and India can work together. This is an excellent way. Judges, you lead the way. We follow. Okay, we follow happily. Okay. Close to India, Maldives. And I will tell you, I did a 3-day mediation in Maldives, the best mediation I did there. They gave me an overwater villa. Everybody was happy mediating, no jackets or ties. You know, 5 o'clock we stopped, we all go swimming. We settled in principle, and we're still working on it, but it was a very good outcome. Okay, but last year, this man is, Francis Xavier. Who knows Francis Xavier? Oh, some of you know. He was president of CIR. Okay, he's one of our specialist mediators, trained by us. He and I went to the Maldives to train judges. These are judges in mediation. 2 days, okay? And they are now thinking of changing the court system so that mediation is used more often. So mediation is also a tool for social change. We're changing systems, we're changing lives. And that's what I think you all are doing in India as well. This was a surprise this year. Costa Rica, many. You know how long it took me to go to Costa Rica? 30 hours. I nearly died, okay? But we received a request from Costa Rica. And do you know where Costa Rica is? It's near Central America, Caribbean area. It's a country, I think you all don't know this, which abolishes army. No army, only civil defense. And they stand for peace and harmony. So we were invited because there were lawyers there who wanted Costa Rica to sign the convention. And they arranged for me to meet the Minister of Justice and Peace and the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Okay, and we had a conference there. It was an ICC conference, and the ministers pledged that Costa Rica would sign the convention. Okay, I went to another conference nearby. I was very fortunate, okay? This is the Bahamas. This is the Minister of Economic Affairs, Michael Hakitis. You guys might know this. Where's the handsome okay, this one. Do you know him? Peter Mena, just elected Commonwealth Law Association president, okay? Jawad and I and we went to Giant's Causeway in Belfast. Okay, and you know this other guy? John Bessie, who took over from Francis Xavier, President CIR. Okay? This lady you all might not know. You all know? Anybody does ICC arbitrations or mediations? She's the president of ICC, not the cricket one. International Chamber of Commerce, which does the most mediations in the world. Mexican, very interested in mediation as well. So now you see the connectivity in the world. Mediation, arbitration, litigation, we're all coming together. Judge, you were saying, we call ourselves dispute resolution specialists now. Don't put yourself in a pigeonhole. But I had a great reception. I talked to ministers, both the Bahamas and Costa Rica said they would sign. Jamaica now says they will ratify. So we are getting this next wave in terms of the convention. All right, this is our Singapore Convention Week. Justice Rao, you were there. Tariq, you were there. Every year in August, this year will be run between 28th August and 1st of September. The Singapore government and UNCITRAL, we run a convention week, and we invite people from all over the world, a whole week of arbitration and mediation activities. Okay, and this is how we get that wave going. So the growth in mediation, I'm just showing you some examples. It's just what we experience. Elsewhere is also grown, but it's also reflected in our case numbers, okay? In our SIMC case numbers. So some of you have seen this photo. We started very humbly in November 2014. That's my Chief Justice, that's our Minister of Law, and Edwin Glasgow, QC, KC now. He was our first chair, and then I took over from him. Okay. So we are not for profit. We started by having, credibility was our issue too. So we had a panel of very good, renowned mediators from different jurisdictions to tell people it's not just Singapore, but you can avail yourself of anyone. And the other thing we had is that actually you can pick any mediator, even not on our panel. So we have flexibility. This is just to show you that we've got good people on our panel. Our case numbers, we showed to some of you yesterday. First year was tough. Honestly, we had 6 cases the first year. We went knocking on doors because people can know you. First, they need to know you, right? Then they need to remember you. And the dispute must arise. And both parties must agree to come to us. And cross-border is difficult. Some want to go somewhere else. So that is the difficulty. But we have worked hard. We've worked on it. And you can see the numbers have increased. All right. Last year, 77. This year, I think we will pass 77, but it is with some work. But you know, it's like starting a law firm, right? First year, second year, quite difficult. But after the third year, you get repeat clients, they come back. In the same way, if lawyers have a good experience with us, they will come back. And we believe that numbers will increase. But your food must be good, huh? I tell people, you go to a restaurant, the food must be good, right? If it's no good, I go there the first time, I'm not going to come back. But if it's good, we come back. So, centers, Tariq, where are you, Tariq? Tariq's not here. Okay, we need to guard what we have well. Make sure the level of mediation service that you provide is up there. Because if it's not there, people won't come back. Very important. We talked about number of cases. Today we've crossed 300, but our total dispute value you can see is 15 billion. Okay, last year we had our largest case, $4 billion case. So we are not just looking at quantity, but we're looking at quality. The types of cases that come to us, and our settlement rate, you need to keep that as a center, and it hovers around above 70%. Okay, these are our top 10 overseas users. Where is India? India is our second biggest user actually. All right, and look, whether it's Singapore, India, I will tell you, we are all brothers and sisters. We work together wherever we are to try and resolve disputes. Peace. I just want to touch on some of the cases we've done so you have a flavor. This is a big case we did. We made, what year was this? During COVID. 2020. It's a 5-party case. Not easy, yeah? UK, Switzerland, UAE, India, Singapore. Energy problem. Done online. And yesterday we shared with you, the parties were looking for institution because it's not easy to handle a 5-party case with different time zones and online. Okay, I won't name, but it was another institution that they were considering and us. In the end, they were happy with our service because we gave them a list of 4 Asian mediators and 4 European mediators, and they picked one. But that is what an institution can do to show value add to the service. We help you select the right mediator. Okay? People don't realize this. Many people go for mediation, just think of a name and then ad hoc and then just go for it. Doesn't work all the time. Because sometimes the nature of the case, you need a mediator with different, particular kind of skill. And that is underrated if you ask me. Okay? And it is something which a center can do to help people select the right mediator. And this case was settled how many days?
It's done online, so we went on.
We went on, but after 5 days, I'm told it was more or less settled in principle, and it's considered done. This was the case that Greg alluded to earlier. We have a protocol with Japan. Now they work very closely with us because we collaborate. And Indian party, Japanese party, we decided to do a co-mediation. Each center counts it as one case, so win-win. We don't try and cut. We work together with you. Each of us benefits. We share the fees. Okay? They pick 2 mediators, 1 Japanese. We pick Greg. He's Singaporean of Indian origin, right? Greg comes from Chennai. Yeah. It worked. 2 days, resolved. And this is this idea of culture. Sometimes you cannot find somebody who can fit all the requirements. Yeah, find a Japanese, find a Singapore, find an Indian mediator. We can work it through. Let's be flexible about it. Crypto, do you have crypto cases in India? Yeah, we are getting quite a number of these. Complicated, but can be done. Okay, this is what I want to talk to you about. These are claims against governments. So you know about investor-state disputes. India is involved in some, I think. All right? It's a difficult question, difficult issue. We have done one, settled in principle, still work in progress. Okay? But this year alone, we did 2 claims against governments. I have to respect confidentially, but I will tell you roughly, generally. First case, Singapore company suing a foreign government, not Singapore government. Okay? Many years running around. Finally, they came to mediation at SIMC. The Attorney General of the country came for the mediation. Okay? That made all the difference. When the other party saw that the AG was coming, they were so happy. Okay? Because they said, nobody would want to decide my case. Till you came, sir. And we had a very good conversation. I can tell you this, both parties reached. Okay? The party had a bottom line, they went below it. The AG pushed and reached. He was able to make some phone calls. We started at 9:30 a.m., we signed at 11:20 p.m. Very satisfactory. Okay? That's the kind of case I want to get. Not connected with Singapore, but people are coming. That's the kind of case IAMC at some stage you should aim for. The second case, I think which was done in March. Chinese company against another government, not Singapore government, flew in. First day I thought they wouldn't settle. Second day we settled. And the reason we settled was this. This is about a bit of a deal making, maybe at a later stage. There was another project. You interested? Let's settle this. Let's work something out. So for the sake of future business, we settled. Parties took a photograph together at Maxwell Chambers. I have that photo in my phone. All right. Can never happen in court. I tell myself, after all my years in practice, the satisfaction you get when you see parties resolve matters, shake hands, take a photograph together, fantastic, and carry on business. So we could preserve the relationship, we could preserve the investment, we could work out a new deal for them. So those are the kind of cases we should make our work, I think, worthwhile and interesting. It's hard work, but it is fulfilling. So I told you about investor-state disputes. I want to tell you that it's really so important because I came back from New York 2 weeks ago. There's a working group by Ansitra, working group number 3 on reforms in investor-state disputes. How many lawyers here are involved in investor-state claims? Show of hands. Okay, maybe you can't tell, all right? But it's a very serious issue in the world. So one lady from an African country said, I have a claim from an investor for US 9 billion. With interest, it's US 12 billion. She said, if we lose the case, the economy is affected. People's lives are affected. And this is what people are facing. Okay? The stats show that the party that can engage a top 10 global law firm, okay, has a better chance of winning. It's an arbitration. You got a better lawyer, you got better facilities, you got better resources. Maybe you stand a chance of getting a better outcome. And people are not happy with that system. So now the claims go to ICSID, they're thinking of reforming the whole system so that you have a multilateral investment court with an appellate division. This is what they're talking about. The EU wants to fund it. Okay? Investors are not happy because they said it's the states which are going to run this. I spoke on behalf of SIMC to advocate the use of mediation early. Because if you want to save the relationship, you want to save the investment, you've got to intervene early. That to me is the only way it will work. Okay? And I'm hoping that with time people will realize that. So this is an area where actually mediation can play a very important role in the world order in terms of saving economies and changing lives. There's a lot that we can do. Okay, I want to move on to the second development, which is the impact of the Singapore Convention, and you've heard about it this morning. So I was fortunate, okay, as a mediator of 26 years to be part of this. It's historical, okay? So for 4 years, Ancitral had a working group number 2, which was tasked to look into the possibility of having a convention to be able to enforce international commercial mediated settlements all over the world, the equivalent of the New York Convention. The arbitration world has had it since 1958. We in the mediation world always felt we were poorer cousins. We never had this. And those of you who are involved in international arbitration, can you think of international arbitration working without enforceability? Doesn't work. In the same way, for international mediation to work, you need enforceability. In the cases that one party breaches, at least the other party feels it can enforce. But more importantly, because people tell me, hey, mediation usually no problem with enforceability. True. But when you go to a business person and you ask the business person, sir, can you mediate your case? He will ask you, all right, but if I can't enforce it, can I enforce it? And you say you can't, he said, no, I'm not going to mediate. Waste of my time. This guy has already broken my contract, you want me to enter another contract with him, right? So this is our experience. To get people to the table, you need enforceability, all right? And that's why it's so important. And it's so important for countries in the world to realize this and ratify the convention. So, Singapore Convention is not about Singapore, okay? We were fortunate because the working group elected us to chair the session. And at the end, I didn't chair it. My colleague, this lady chaired it, Natalie Morris. Okay, and she chaired it, in my view, quite well. People appreciated that. At the end, they asked Singapore to host the signing ceremony. And that's how we got the naming Singapore Convention. But for me, it is about promoting mediation globally, worldwide. And so it happened, 4 years of deliberations and negotiations. This was the last day in 2018, January. You see the whole happy group coming together. We cobbled together the text of the convention. It went to the UN General Assembly, and then eventually signing ceremony, August 2019, and your High Commissioner came. India signed, and we were so happy because on the first day, 46 countries signed, okay? India, China, US signed. 3 countries, I say, make up more than half of the world's population. Really, people said no. This was a record for the UN. Ratification is important. Unfortunately, we ran into something very big and unpredictable after that. What was that? COVID-19, okay? So it stalled our plans because travel became, you can't travel. Governments couldn't think of anything except managing COVID. So it was a dampener, but we revived the work. And today, okay, this is your High Commissioner signing, right? Today we've got 55 countries who have signed, 11 have ratified. UK says they will be signing very soon. And a few other countries have said they will sign. Okay, India is not ratified, and our hope, of course, is that India, if you ratify, you send a signal. It's a signaling effect. And particularly if IAMC, you want to be there on the map, on the global map, you have to tell the world. You can't enforce your your settlement agreement here as well. If not, I think you're giving a different signal. Anyway, for us in Singapore, we have benefited because they know we've ratified. People are very happy and willing to come to Singapore. Okay, I'm going to try and move. Do I have any more time? Third point. Okay, mediation, arbitration, litigation. So this is a study by Queen Mary University and White and Case. It's 2021. And very quickly, if you look at it, international arbitration and ADR, okay, it's arbitration plus usually mediation and neutral evaluation, etc. Okay, international arbitration stand alone. So you see in 2015, they asked respondents, what is your preferred mode of dispute resolution? And people in 2015 said stand-alone arbitration, 56%. Combination in 2015 was 34% for the combination, the hybrid process. In 2018, 48%, 49%. 2021, down to 31%, stand-alone arbitration. And for the hybrid process, 59%. So these are stats, data which tell us the trends, okay? For us, we have also experienced this because we have SIAC, which is our sister company, we have an Met-up protocol. So this is something we thought of before the convention, when we first started. Parties may be concerned about enforceability. So this is the method we thought. If you have a case, you are concerned about enforceability, come to SIAC, file your case, file your notice of arbitration. Tribunal form, case is stayed, early stage, okay? File is brought to us, SIMC. There's an 8-week window for the matter to be mediated so that people don't accuse us of delaying matters. Okay, 8 weeks, unless parties agree to extend, we try and mediate it. If it is settled, settlement agreement goes back to the tribunal, recorded as a consent arbitral award, enforceable around the world under New York Convention. You see that? Okay, if it's not settled, it goes back for arbitration. So whichever way, the business parties get an outcome, and that's what they want, an outcome. And so this forms about 10 to 15% of our caseload. It works, okay? And we made it easy for parties, one stop. You don't need to approach both institutions. We do all the work back end. SIC is just next door to us. So we do all the things. You pay one fee, we do everything else. We move the files, and we tell you the outcomes. We have been working with China on a protocol. We have a special arrangement with the Shenzhen Court of International Arbitration. This is special. If you mediate in Singapore under SIMC and you have a settlement with a Chinese party, without the convention, we can register it at the Shenzhen Court. They turn it into an arbitral award, enforceable in China. This is another advantage that business people want as well. Okay, so this is the message. Mediation is increasingly used in a complementary matter with arbitration and litigation. This is the future. So I was asked by Tariq actually to come and talk to you about this case. So I am famous in Korea because of this case. So in 2021, at the height of COVID, I can tell you about this case because it's reported by GAR, Global Arbitration Review. Very rare case that you can talk about. It's published. Even the settlement agreement is published in the States because of regulatory requirements, okay? Korean company, POSCO Energy, huge, very big company. Everybody in Korea knows who is POSCO. American company, Fuel Cell Energy. Fuel Cell had a special technology in green energy. Essentially, it is stacking up cells and they create green energy, clean. All right, the Koreans wanted it, they went into an agreement, worked well in the beginning, and then after a few years, problems, the Koreans terminated the agreement. Okay, they had 5 arbitrations around the world, 2 court cases in the US. They were just killing each other. Can you imagine one company, 1 court case, enough, 5 plus 2. Korean lawyer was trained by us. Okay, she recommended mediation. They wanted somebody neutral, asked me to do it. The American lawyer agreed. Originally set for San Francisco and moved to Seoul. So physical mediation, I was asked to go up to Seoul for 3 days. Travel very restrictive. But we started the mediation. Each day we took one issue at a time. So let's say there were 10 issues. By the third day, we settled 9, okay? The beautiful thing about this was the transactional lawyers came to negotiate. And transactional lawyers, not interested in fighting, they just want to solve the problem. Okay. Tension was high, emotions, relationship bad, but we plodded on, and by the third day, we solved 9. The 10th issue on the 4th morning, we tried, but the CEO of the American company had already gone off. But we made it took us another 2 or 3 months to close it. They did a settlement agreement. I think by December of that year, we settled it, closed. Okay, the beauty of this is really about deal making, although at a later stage. You know, the agreement was terminated, but the settlement agreement, we resurrected the agreement. Okay, it was Easter. They cancelled the termination, something which with due respect, judges cannot do. But commercially, we could do it, okay? And the Korean company agreed to actually buy 22 modules of technology worth US $66 million. They agreed to carry on business on different terms. We work out different terms, on discounts, on different terms. We structured a new deal. Both sides were very happy, okay? That is a case which I'm really proud about because it involved 1 billion US. So when people say, oh, mediation for small matters, family matters, community matters, not true. Big case, all represented by big party, big lawyers, and we could still do it. Okay, and that was a perfect case. We talked about it during our training the last 2 days. Cultural differences, how did we deal with it? My magic was the mooncake, which I shared with the groups. Because tensions were so high and I was told, find a way to diffuse the situation. It was Mooncake Festival in Singapore, Mid-Autumn Festival. I brought mooncakes. Do you know what mooncakes are? It's just pastry and cakes with lotus seed and all that. But nice ones. We started the mediation with mooncakes and TWGT. Okay? And the Americans were disarmed. They came thinking they will fight, argue and fight. They didn't expect this Chinese chap going around pouring tea for them and having mooncakes. Koreans were happy because this is very Asian. We eat first, then we talk, right? And that's how I set the mood. And for those of you who are doing cross-border disputes, you need to find ways to diffuse tensions, to get people to start talking. So this is a case I'm very proud of, and I'm hoping that you guys will have your own mooncake cases. Maybe you have what, Rasmalai? I don't know. Okay, so this is my parting shot, really. We should see ourselves as problem solvers, and that's been mentioned. And I tell you, my son is a lawyer, okay? I'm a grandfather, by the way, okay? My son is a lawyer, and he asked me what's the future, and I said, think of yourself as a dispute resolution specialist. Not as a litigator, not as an arbitrator, not as a mediator. Why not, okay? Why not think of yourself as someone who can provide a suite of services, different services, either as mediator or as mediation advocate? And to me, that is the future. That is the future. We do what is best for the client. And it goes back to my first message I told you of acting in the best interest of the clients. That resonates with me. And that's why today I'll tell you I have the best job in the world. Really. Every case is different. Every case I learn. And it's so fulfilling when parties resolve matters. Okay. Any more time I have? No more time. Okay, last point. Why India should ratify. And it's not for me to determine or to say, but it's a suggestion, okay? Look at India's top trading partners. Business people think in terms of ease of business. If I come to your country and invest, if I have a problem, how do I resolve it? Can I resolve it? Okay? And many of the countries that you work with are already signatories or ratifiers of the convention. India, show the way. Okay? This is the other reason. You talk about Singapore, India. I didn't know this. Do you know that we are your largest FDI investor? Your largest investor in terms of FDI, foreign direct investment? I still can't believe it. Okay? I don't know whether it's true, but I'm told it is. But we are that close. And that's why, you know, we have so many flights between Singapore and India. Our business people keep on coming here and back. You guys coming. So I think there is that synergy for us to work together. And I think because of that business synergy, if India signals that you've ratified the convention, you will get more mediations here as well. Otherwise, it's just going to come one way. Okay. Which is not what we want. All right. For IAMC, I told you, it's a signaling effect. If you really want to be seen as a major player, you've got to be a ratifier. I know government and you guys are different, but I'm sure you have the ear of some people. You have got influence. But it is essential, in my view, if you want to be a major player. Okay. All right. You see something different in this map? Justice Raveendran, you can't see. What's the difference? India. India as a ratifier of the convention. That is our hope for you. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Do we have time for questions or no? No time.
It's quite a historical event for all of us, and then I had the advantage of being in this workshop for the last 2 days. One of the things that I would like to ask you is to take it more practical and to learn more from it. Is it possible any point of time in future for us to participate in any of the mediations that you are doing in a very student kind of manner, so we'll get a hang of how real things are happening?
Okay, so we have promised the people who attended the 2-day mediation training, if you come onto our panel, all right, we do not think that we think you still need further training. And one of the things we say is you need to co-mediate a case with a more experienced mediator, okay? So we've told the group, if you bring a case, I will do my best to bring you a case. Fair, right? Quid pro quo, because otherwise nobody knows you. Nobody's going to give you a case. And in that scenario, we will match you with one of our experienced mediators, and it could be me. Okay? So there are many other experienced mediators on our panel, but if you make a request, we will do our best. It's transparent, you got to go through Meng, so he's the right person to make friends with.
Thank you.
Vikram?
Thank you, sir. I quite understand. Doing a case with you will bring many more cases for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikram. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, IAMC, for this fabulous event. My question is that those who have not been able to attend the training program recently held, is there any future possibility for other of us who can join similar training?
Yeah, just pay us a lot. But I'm joking. We can try, but I will tell you it's quite difficult because we have a lot of requests. But again, you speak to Meng after this. Make friends with him.
Right.
All right? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have heard people talking about the civil society also to take a role in creating awareness about mediation. So what is your international experience? Do you have any idea, or do you have, in your knowledge, whether any civil society is providing such kind of service in the international arena?
Yes, actually this is a thing of the future, or even present today. So when you can sit down, okay? So when we were in South Korea, there was a group called Women's Interest Group, all women, but high-flying arbitrators and lawyers. And they are very interested in green issues. And actually mediation is very green, right? Compared to litigation and arbitration. That is the other aspect. If you look up the UN Sustainability Goals, goal number 16 stands for building institutions which promote peace and harmony. And mediation is one of them. Okay, so this group, there are some experts in environmental issues, and they talk about using mediation in environmental issues. And when I was at the UN, it all came out. Can you imagine today when you have a big dispute in a country, it's not just the parties, right? It's the NGOs, it's the farmers, it's the civil rights people. And mediation is appropriate because you can include these people in your settlement. Whereas in arbitration or litigation, you can't. It's only the parties with local standard who can come and sue and be heard. But in the mediation, if you know that these parties have a say and are going to be affected, you can bring them in. So actually in the future, we will see this. multi-party, multi-jurisdictional kind of case where mediation is actually the most suitable form of dispute resolution.
Thank you so much for the lovely mediation training that we got over the last 2 days. I was fortunate enough to be a part of that. Sir, my question is a very fundamental question. I think the problem, or rather the issue that we face in actually learning about mediation is the fundamental understanding that we have of dispute and conflict. And the challenge is when we talk dispute, we think of court because that is how we are educated. Right from our school and college days, we are taught about executive judiciary and then we are taught about court. But understanding of conflict and settling conflict out of court is not at all in our education system. How is this being dealt with globally from your experience? Yeah. Because I believe the shift has to happen very fundamentally.
So I didn't have time to explain, but in Singapore, we now move away from just court annex mediation. All right, so we have community mediation. There's a community mediation center which settles dispute between neighbors. We've got banks, insurance companies who have their own mediation processes, consumer association. So it's actually, in terms of culture, and that's why we wanted to open it up, not just keep it to the lawyers. So that is already happening. I think that is a really good thing for the future, for more groups to come on board. Okay? And that hopefully will happen in India as well. Okay, so we do peer group mediation. Actually in schools, there are groups that go to schools and run mediation competitions with students. For the bar, we now have, for Singapore, before you become a lawyer, you have to do a postgraduate law course. Okay, 5 months. And mediation is a module, mediation advocacy. So we've actually worked hard to get that early for the lawyers in their training. Okay, Poornima? One more question and then we stop.
Sir, as an experienced mediator for yourself, I would like to know your perspective of what's the difference between rights-based mediation and interest-based mediation. And I would like to know your way, how you approach interest-based mediation.
Okay, so the mediation process that we teach and share is interest-based mediation. Rights is really like legal rights and positions that people take. Okay, so rights is everything. The interest-based mediation is based on what people really care about. What are your underlying concerns? What is it that you really matter? So a good example is that people sue for defamation. That's a right, right? You defame me. And then you ask for what you ask for? You ask for money. Okay? But what is the underlying concern? Defamation, reputation
loss.
And loss of reputation can be addressed in many ways, not just money. Right? A lot of times people want an apology. If you cannot get an apology, then you can do a clarification, a joint clarification of what happened. And there could be other ways, give money to charity, do something for me or other, which addresses their reputation. To me, the joint statement is probably the best. And I have cases where I tell them, okay, let's have a press release. Good publicity for both sides. Okay, thank you very much. I'm so sorry we don't have time. But I think we'll hang around and if you have questions, you can ask of us. So I think I passed my time. I'm going to pass the mic to Wee Meng.
So thank you, George.